When it comes to smartphone home appliances and devices, LG is a highly respected brand, but unfortunately, their smartphone business has not done so well over the last few years. Since 2014, the company has lost more than $4.5 billion in its smartphone division due to the intense competition in the global smartphone market. Now the information making the rounds as communicated by CEO Keon Bong-Seok is that the company is quitting the smartphone business altogether. Why is LG quitting the smartphone business? In this video, we will reveal some of the key reasons behind the decision. First, let's take a look back at the history of LG smartphones. LG unveiled its smartphone division sometime in 2009, and the company's first ever smartphone for Android was the LG GW620 and the LG InTouch Max. The phone did well in the market, but not as well as company directors would have hoped. Subsequent models were released with varying degrees of success. One would have expected their phones to compete on an even footing with fellow South Korean rival Samsung or China's Huawei when you consider how well their home appliances are doing in the market. Unfortunately, this is not the case. While LG OLED TV sets and other home appliances continue to do well in the market, their smartphones have struggled to hit the same heights for several reasons. At the start of the year, news broke that the decision to scrap the division will be made at a board meeting at April 5, 2021. This news was eventually confirmed with the following official statement released to the press. The decision to shut down the smartphone division will enable the company to focus resources in growth areas such as electric vehicle components, connected devices, smart homes, robotics, artificial intelligence, and business-to-business solutions, as well as platforms and services. LG also noted that all existing phones will remain on sale and will continue to provide necessary support for their smartphones already in use for a period of time, depending on the region. However, no news is forthcoming regarding the future employment status of staff working in the smartphone division, as there has been no news about potential layoffs. The fate of these workers will be made known by the end of July. This news didn't come as a surprise to those who have followed the situation for a very long time. Rumors had been rife for several months that this was going to happen, and when you factor in the losses LG has suffered over the years, this dissolution was only going to be a matter of time. When LG first started manufacturing phones, many considered them a rival to fellow South Korean phone maker Samsung, but LG has failed to match Samsung. The competition from Chinese firms like Huawei and Xiaomi has also added to the global competition LG faced. In March, new reports surfaced that the company was shopping for a buyer for its smartphone division, but talks with interested parties stalled. Then Korean outlet Donga reported that the development of upcoming phones had ceased in light of its decision to shut down the arm. Previously, directors have said that LG would become profitable by 2021. If they are scrapping the division in the year they had hoped to hit profit targets, then it only means one thing: that their profit projections were wrong. LG made concerted efforts to revitalize the business by releasing a series of eye-catching devices with unusual forms. They released the LG Wings with a rotating screen that revealed a much smaller screen underneath the main screen. They also tried to develop the LG G5 phone, but the plan was scrapped in late 2020. Despite their best efforts, the engineers and decision-makers at LG were not able to hit desired heights with their new releases. And while these renewed efforts were struggling to make the necessary impact, their traditional phones were lagging behind phones released by their rivals, especially in the area of camera performance. LG is not the only high-profile corporation struggling in the smartphone niche. In recent years, many phone makers have exited the market. Even the top brands that have stuck around now rely on third-party manufacturers. Nokia is a perfect example of brands using the resources of other manufacturers. Nokia phones are now manufactured by HMD. BlackBerry phones were initially made by TCL, but this year, production shifted to Onward Mobility. We also have HTC, which sells a few handsets to loyal customers, but a significant chunk of its IP was sold to Google in 2017. But why has LG not turned in a profit? Many factors are responsible for this trend. At the inception of the smartphone division, the company attempted to attract buyers with amazing mobile features. Their V40, G7, V50 and G8 were all released to compete with Huawei and Samsung, but these devices did not do enough to expand the market share. The LG Velvet and LG Wings were quite chic, but they were not well received. The only logical reason to explain why LG has failed to turn in a profit is down to one thing: competition. Although Samsung is a global brand as far as phone manufacturing and marketing is concerned, if this fellow Korean company was the only rival LG had to contend with, it may have been successful because their phones are very good. However, the competition posed by Chinese manufacturers limited its growth. For instance, throughout the final years of the Trump administration, the US placed massive tariffs on Chinese-made products. With the US being China's largest market, these sanctions hurt the Chinese economy. However, such sanctions were not placed on Chinese smartphones. Although then President Trump threatened to place a 15% levy on imported smartphones from China, he never did. So China's dominance of the global smartphone supply chain continued. Of all the top 5 biggest mobile phone makers in the world, only one has no affiliation with China, and that is Samsung, which is a South Korean company. Apple manufactures most of its phones in China, even though it is a US brand. Huawei and Xiaomi are Chinese brands, and Vivo makes most of their phones in China. Due to the huge population, Chinese manufacturers can fall back to their local population if their products are or doing so well globally. Furthermore, the low cost of production in China has allowed Chinese firms to reduce overhead costs and enjoy large economies of scale. These are advantages that LG does not enjoy. To give you an even better understanding of the stiff competition LG had to contend with from Chinese firms, look no further than the top Android smartphone brands in the world. Of the top 7 brands, 5 are Chinese-owned, namely Huawei, Lenovo, Oppo, Vivo, and Xiaomi. In 2020, despite the COVID-19 virus, smartphone vendors shipped out a total of 275.1 million units in the first quarter alone. Over 2/3 of that number were manufactured in China. Samsung sold the biggest portion, totaling about 59 million devices. Huawei came a distant second at 49 million. Although not an Android maker, Apple shipped out 40 million devices. There was no way LG was ever going to dominate the home market in China, so it had to look to new regions like Far East Asia and Africa. In China, the only non-Chinese brand with a huge market share is Apple. In Southeast Asia and Africa, only Samsung is a non-Chinese maker that has been able to hold its own. Even in Europe, Chinese brands are beginning to gain ground on Samsung and Apple. Furthermore, by the second quarter of the 2020, Xiaomi became the 3rd leading smartphone maker, with Huawei coming 4th. With the intense competition brought on by Chinese manufacturers, LG struggled to increase its market share or maintain its current share. And in price-sensitive regions like India, Africa, and Southeast Asia, Chinese firms do better by offering their devices at much cheaper prices. Although LG has decided to shut down their smartphone arm, they may still go ahead to release their rollable phones scheduled for release this year. The device was unveiled at the Consumer Electronics Show. The phone has a unique screen that can be resized with OLED displays. If the board decides to release the rollable phone, it might be just the perfect device to make a glorious exit from the smartphone market. The decision to shut down the smartphone arm may be a strategic decision by LG to allow them to focus on product niches like their television sets and home appliances that have been accepted globally. Leaving a sector where it has struggled to focus on another sector where it is dominant may be a step in the right direction. Who knows? But what do you think? Has LG made the right decision to stop making smartphones, or is it an ill-advised move? Let us know what you think by leaving a comment below. Also, kindly subscribe to our channel so you can get updates when we upload new videos. Thanks for watching!